Okay, live on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter. All right. Get people to share that, and then we're ready to go.
Hi, Twitter. We'll be live in about 5 minutes here.
5 minutes, Twitter.
Actually, let me send her the links first.
Anybody there's a pair of cream-colored sunglasses?
Not me. I turned them in.
Anybody want a pair of cream-colored sunglasses?
You're like, no, I was the one who gave them.
I almost broke them.
But were they?
I started to step on him, and I could feel I heard something. It was like, and then it seemed like a decent pair of like Vans, sunglasses.
Good.
She's so dialogue.
Wow.
Okay.
Where's the presentation? Oh, I already see it. It's in the corner there.
I literally just like re-downloaded Twitter today for this and like haven't done anything, and I like go on and it's like, here's to having usual activities. Your account is in one?
What's up?
These are the batteries behind you. Where it's not behind it, it's white.
And that's on
Mike.
Twitter?
Mike, you're only sharing with your friends. You need to make it public.
I thought it was public.
No. It's okay. You can just restart it if you need to.
Alright, I'm going to start this over. There's more music now.
Watch your language thing.
Oh, yes. Nah, man.
Okay, I get my power cable. You restart.
Alright, I'm making it public. This should be the last one.
So if you come here in person, I can just
You can just
answer the questions out loud.
Yep. That's exactly the point.
Well, I don't have a
Hello.
Good. That's your natural state. Wow. All right. Yeah. I want to put the presentation up, but he's got to share. He's got to send some links to be shared.
Hello.
Hi.
Should be interesting. All right, I'll be right back, guys.
Got a little AC coming from the ceiling there. So.
No, you guys know that music. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Oh my god. I feel like I would be like 20 degrees cooler right now if I didn't take a ride around the block. Oh my god. Well, as soon as you like sat down, I was like, the sun just kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like embarrassing. Like I was arguing as politely as possible in front of those other hotel guests. And then
should have got your
outside.
new friend at home.
How do you say it like that? I did. I said to him, I was like, where is Allison? She'll come fight this battle for me. But like, that's the thing. I like, whatever. I had to ask him
Stop.
many times, but I got what I wanted.
You. Don't antagonize her.
I don't realize she can get shit done.
Yeah.
We know that.
Well, I'm getting her number.
Okay,
Something
yeah,
down
yeah,
right.
Link is up. Public shared, not private, like I didn't realize I was doing.
I really appreciate the fact that like she'll write an email or note or whatever you need for you. I hate putting that. I know, like, you know what?
Oh my gosh.
So am I supposed to be able to find him in this? I'm not a Twitter person.
So if you follow myself, Keith, or the network on Facebook or Twitter, you should be seeing all of this stuff.
Alright, cool.
Okay. Give me 1 minute, and we'll come back and we'll start. Okay?
Okay?
Just gonna
1
see if
minute.
Kristen's got this.
1 minute.
1 minute. 1 minute about Nchat.
Sure, huh?
I don't know if you do this Nchat face thing, yep.
Face tweet.
It's keep your face.
He really needs to do that intro.
I think
That
he
was
does.
pretty
I
epic.
don't think he will, but
What?
he does.
He's just like, tweet in your face.
Once you got the microphone working.
Pretty great.
Well, if you look at it, it has like a 10-second delay when it warms up. Don't talk before that. That's basically it. So.
Oh my gosh, it's so cold in Chicago.
Why should we bring the cold down?
It's like a high of 59 and rain.
Then I would have been sad I forgot my hoodie.
That's why I was glad I was driving because like
Still on in here.
I left like 3 hours later than I was gonna, so I just like threw in like
Mark, you want to sit here with us? Gordon, you want to sit here with us?
It's been recommended that when you start, you should do the Twitter face
rain
thing
like we
again.
had last night, I had them all the time.
Face tweet, keep your face.
Yeah, you're bit from the microphone.
Yeah,
It was good.
We good?
I think so. Let me just share this.
Can we stream this on our Facebook?
Go for it.
I don't know how to
Just
do it.
share, just find Mike's, the stream. I'm gonna share it right now.
I've
Alright,
got a people with narcolepsy.
go to my
Facebook.
timeline and it's there.
Okay.
Well, it's so weird, it's on a time delay.
Yeah, it's on a bit of a delay, but we can still get the picture. We can
Oh.
still get the questions that way.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna retweet my tweet.
Yeah, please.
No,
How
no,
what's the share button today?
Is it 1 in or 2 in?
I'm sorry, what you guys? Nchat is hashtag NCHAT. One.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about the Wi-Fi password, then it's definitely 2 ends.
Cool. So I'm sharing on the PWN
Perfect.
Facebook page too.
Think so. We good?
Mhm.
All right.
Perfect. I'm gonna shut this.
Thank you.
You can leave it open.
Okay.
We want the people
Good
to
for
come in.
airflow.
Mhm.
Yeah, and therefore too.
Let's see what's going on at one joint us.
That's right, okay.
Yes.
Alright, Mike, let me get your presentation up here.
Pass it to you for the questions. Does that work?
Yeah, you can go through the presentation now.
Sounds good.
Unless you want some here.
No.
I got 10 people watching online.
Awesome. Okay, you wanna say hello to our
Hopefully they can hear me or see me. Hello Facebook. Hello Twitter. This is Nchat. This is first we're going to start off with a little presentation to kind of explain what Nchat is. Spoiler alert: it's just another support group. And then afterwards we're going to engage in what an Nchat normally would be, which is asking questions of our group. What? Lower? Higher? Is this better?
So that's
Too much? Okay. So the idea is to kind of engage in an online conversation. So we ask pretty basic questions, anything that somebody would be going through, medications they like, all anecdotal, and you can be as open and or honest, or as reserved as you like. Oh, I'm Mike. Sleepiest Mike on Twitter.
And I'm Keith Harper, Keith_Harper on Twitter. And we also have another Mark Patterson here, who's one of our big tweeters.
Hi. It is reversed. You know, we flip around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So all the slides are backwards.
Perfect. Well, luckily, the slides are also going to be on the Narcolepsy Network's page. So when they do a post later on about the conference, all the slides will be there.
It's correct on my phone, so we can, on the Periscope feed on Twitter.
Is Jana Harper saying the slide backwards?
Yes, the slides are backwards on Facebook.
I can if you want. You can start the presentation then. We're running out of time.
Okay, we're going to restart the Facebook feed, so another feed is going to appear in just a minute, okay? So bear with us. It's because you're using the front-facing camera.
I'm going to fight you.
You have to turn it around.
I'm aware. Now. You've only seen it here this whole time, Keith.
Don't fight me, Mike.
All right. This
You know I
time.
love you. No comments from the peanut gallery back there.
Oh, I got a shirt for you.
All right, we're fixing the face part of our face tweet. So we've never tried this before. So the idea, what we're going to do today is we're going to go through this little presentation, talk a little bit about what Nchat is. But we're also broadcasting live on Periscope, which feeds into Twitter, and also on Facebook Live. So we're going to go through this presentation and then do some of the normal questions that we ask. We ask people questions on Twitter, we do a Q&A, and then we're going to open it up so that folks on Twitter and on Facebook can ask us questions, and also you guys in the audience, and we can just talk sort of all together. So let me share this.
It's showing up as attachment unavailable now.
Gosh darn it, man. I give up on the face part.
Whoa.
Don't do that.
Is it? Did you make sure? It's
No, I
public?
know what it is. I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
It's just frustrating, that's all. So, you can start if you want.
Yeah, go ahead, start.
You know the intro.
Hang on, I want to show your video. So just a moment. There we go.
It's public. Firm. Jeez. Public, again, yeah.
There you go. Maybe not that.
Perfect. All right.
Here we go.
Sorry, Facebook.
Okay, let me share it to the group. All right, take 17.
Thank you for your patience.
Are you ready?
All right. So I would start off this whole little thing with, has anybody here in the room used Twitter before? Awesome. So this is where the chat itself lives. It's just one of the platforms we choose to kind of keep an open dialogue worth of conversation. If you don't know how to use Twitter, I'll show you later. We're going to focus on the chat for this point. Yeah, that I don't know how to fix, but we'll go from there. So we'll talk about Twitter later, but right now I just want to go to the chat and kind of what we do. So go for it. Okay, so we'll talk about what we are, why we are, what Nchat is, what we've been doing, how to participate, and then we'll try to keep it as live as humanly possible. All right? So my story is I was diagnosed with narcolepsy without cataplexy in 2010. I didn't really realize I had a problem, sleeping problem or anything like that until I fell asleep at work. So I started to learn more about my disease and what was going on, and I spent a lot of time going online and searching, and that's when I finally started to see people sharing the same hashtags, hashtag narcolepsy, and things that they've been sharing, and this is where we kind of got our idea, like, hey, there's already this community using this platform, let's try to use Twitter to talk more about it. So that's just a quick intro about me, nothing special. There's Keith, and then here's Kat, who also helps us with Nchat. She couldn't be here today, but she basically is the co-founder of this whole idea. We're doing it about 6 years. It is the first Saturday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. We did switch it for the chat, but the idea is to kind of meet at the same exact time so that people can put in their calendars and hopefully show up every single month. So why? When I started working with Kat and others to form Nchat, the idea was to support one another. I never met anybody with narcolepsy from the very beginning. When I started Nchat, I was just meeting people who had the same problems, talked about the same things, and ideally we could help educate each other and share best practices. And that was kind of the reason why we wanted to set everything up and hopefully find some answers. You know, I found out a lot about different diets out there that I didn't necessarily get from my doctor, and different medications that existed, and programs that help you pay for medication. So it was really a great way to connect with everybody. As long as it works. So yeah, it's just an online dedication dedicated to all sleep disorders. So we talk about narcolepsy with cataplexy, narcolepsy without cataplexy, hypersomnia, and sleep apnea as well. So it's not just one or the other. It is obviously, I dedicate a lot of the conversation to Nchat, but we talk about a lot of different sleeping disorders and share different things. When I was diagnosed with sleep apnea in 2018, I talked a lot about different apparatuses that were out there to try to help me. I had very light apnea, and this was a great place to start my research. It's a good place where we also share like a lot of gadgets that are out there. Like I like my pillow because it's got a gel cushion in it, so it's all nice and cool. It's always the cool side of the pillow. And then last year we gave one of those away, so for fun. Yeah. So how do you participate? So like I said, typically the first Saturday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. All you have to do is search hashtag Nchat. Depending on what app you can actually use with Twitter anymore, what I normally do is I pull up the feed, search Nchat, and then you can see the feed kind of populate, and that way you can almost see a timeline of the conversation. It helps when we ask a question, we start with an A1, and then you answer, we ask the question with a Q1, and you answer with an A1, so on and so forth. Almost had that, right? So. Our audio's fixed? Fantastic.
Thank you, Jason.
You're the best. All right. And so what do we talk about? Like I was talking about before, medications, symptoms and treatments. We've talked about different doctors in different areas. I don't share a lot of space with too many narcoleptics in our area, or people with narcolepsy, but we're able to talk about different doctors we've used and so forth. It even helped me eventually find a local support group, which I did not know has been in place for years. Finally got a chance to actually meet someone and help run that kind of organization. And we also are comfortable with each other. We've been talking for a few years, and it allows us to share the good times and the bad times. You know, not everybody has a great experience with narcolepsy, but we can also kind of make fun of it as well if we need to. So, and it helps us connect with groups like the Narcolepsy Network. So this is an example of what you might see when using Nchat and Twitter. So Keith here is asking a question. We have a question from a specific person, so we call them out. What type of diet helps you with manage your excessive daytime sleepiness symptoms? And then you finish it with hashtag Nchat. The capitalization does not matter with Twitter. So, and you'll see that Amanda, Julia, Kat, and Melissa just kind of answered. they gave their opinion, what they've gone through. There's usually people that will send a link of different diets and different people who have done research on it. It's another place to share and kind of connect, and people retweet and all that good stuff. That's how it kind of shares out there. And eventually this all kind of goes away. It's a conversation in the moment at that time for these reasons. So you can't find every tweet again, especially mine. You can.
And the nice thing is, you have your in-person support groups. We have, all different kinds of Facebook groups. There's ways to connect on Facebook. But Twitter is kind of, it's a different audience. Everything is public. It's a little bit different. So you're going to get different responses and meet different people on Twitter than you would on Facebook.
Yeah, and it's an in the moment type of thing. I feel like if I try to do this in different platforms, I don't know if it would have the same impact. So Twitter's just worked thus far. Thank you. And here, this is what the feed looks like from top to bottom. It's some of the same questions I pulled, and you kind of read bottom to top sometimes, and you can kind of follow the conversation. You'll see buttons in there where you can actually click to view the track, so you can actually track a conversation that you are having with somebody or join one that somebody's already started. Yeah, like Twitter, we just found each other on Twitter. That's the easiest way to explain it. So it's easy to use, in my opinion, and you can be as open and honest or as reserved as you wanted to. But I definitely didn't go by my real name for the longest time on Twitter, and now I want people to actually find me and talk to me, so I use my real name now. So you can change that whenever you feel like it's necessary.
Also, you can follow along. You don't have to participate if you don't want to. Obviously, it's good to join the conversation, but anyone is welcome to follow along.
Yeah, we have a lot of lurkers who aren't the savviest of typers, and that's fine. That's not a big deal. But they get to read about it, and then they'll tell me about it later. Like, hey, Mike, I finally got to see this. They might respond directly to me as opposed to the group, and vice versa. Each moderator has probably gone through this one time or another. So, like I said, with the presentation being posted to the website later on, these links will help you actually. I found a video where people actually explain how Twitter is used. So there are videos out there, and how to use hashtags more appropriately. That way you can kind of find and connect with communities. It might not be narcolepsy you want to connect with, but there might be something else. So, and what am I? Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So, and you can, and they're like 5 minutes long. So they're really easy, and you'll be an expert. So we'd love you if you can, once a month at 5 p.m. Eastern, the first Saturday of every month, to join us on Twitter and join in the conversation. Shoot your questions to me, and then I'll kind of format them to make sure they stay in the 250 character limit, and add the hashtags and so forth, and then we'll discuss them with the group. So I believe that's all. Yep. And now with that being said, we're going to start reaching out to Twitter and Facebook, and obviously in the audience, to have a conversation about narcolepsy. So here's our contact info if you need anything as well. So, and if you need help how to use Twitter, I will gladly show you after this. So.
Okay, so this is how we do it. I'm going to first host the first question here. You can see it's got a Q in front of it, Q1. So just reply with A1, and that's how we do it. Okay. So yeah, that was the tweet. All right. So if you're on Twitter, you can answer, and on Facebook here, where's the video?
If you just click on me, it should come on.
Yeah, hold on, I shared my timeline. There we go. Okay, if you're on Facebook and you're listening, you can type your questions in the box here. Ooh, and I'll put that first question in. So people can reply here. So go ahead and reply on that feed.
So only hipsters have type 2?
Yes, so what is hipster narcolepsy? Hipster narcolepsy is type 2 without cataplexy.
Didn't notice it.
It's mostly because I said back
Very
in my
good.
day.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, so in, about 70% of people with narcolepsy have cataplexy, and the 30%, like myself, were the hipster narcoleptics.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with that word, someone else did. Yeah. All right, so while we're waiting for people to answer the question, let's see if we have any responses on Twitter here. So, do you guys have any questions?
What's the difference between the type 1 and type 2?
Type 1 is with, so the question was, what's the difference between type 1 and type 2 narcolepsy? Type 1 narcolepsy is narcolepsy with cataplexy, type 2 is without cataplexy. That's great.
Oh, wait. We do hashtag Nchat. Should I say A1?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oops.
Yes.
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's the hashtag is the most important part. That way we can follow the conversation. But it doesn't matter. We can. I probably, especially if we just started. I bet you we can figure out if that was an answer. So yeah, thank you for participating. I really appreciate it. So
It will be my first narcolepsy related tweet.
I like it. Oh, we got something up.
Someone is typing on the face part of the face tweet.
And then it does take a second to load. That's why we do it for about an hour or so normally. This one will be a little shorter. And the conversation can always continue off of that specific time. And chat's meant to connect people and to talk about narcolepsy and sleep-related issues, and that's really it. A lot of people have become friends afterwards. There you go.
And I just learned something. I rarely use the Twitter in the browser. It defaults to top, but you have to hit latest, and then you get the feed.
Yes.
All right, so A1, the first answer from Wolf67010064, which I love that username. They say type 2, although they suspect type 1, feel very underrepresented as a T2. All right, Laura wrote in, type 1, although C is pain in ass, I'm thankful because it helped me find my diagnosis.
All right, she figured it out.
Is that you, Laura?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. All right. This is great. Lewis, type 1. Amanda is a good, a consistent participant in Nchat.
She got the
Type
pillow.
1 also. She got the pillow?
That's right.
All right. Macy Pena has written in from Facebook. Aren't all narcoleptics hipsters? I feel pretty hip. We will give that a like.
Wow, you're killing it. But I kind of echo some of that question that came up actually, because I am type 2. I don't have cataplexy, and I do feel like it is very cataplexy centric. I feel like a lot of the conversations here at the conference. Now I know that they're trying to, we're trying to cure both or find a treatment for both, and both can help each other. But I definitely feel the same way sometimes, and I know that Keith has felt the same way a little bit when we would like to be represented a little more. So, thank you. I just want to say thank you, Keith. Are you going to respond?
Yes.
Thank
Always remember. Always respond with the hashtag Nchat. Otherwise, it'll get lost.
Yes. Oftentimes sometimes people will miss a question. I keep it pretty regimented, so I'll post the question every 10 minutes when it starts after introductions. We do the typical introductions. Hey, I'm Mike with narcolepsy in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I'm 33. Whatever it ends up being, oh God, I'll be 33 soon. Whatever it ends up being, it's just a way for people to know each other. So, and like you saw that somebody had a crazy username, well, not crazy, but just different than what it was, a wolf with a bunch of characters after, but then mine's actually my name, and just like Keith's actually his name. So
It was a wolf, not a wolf.
I apologize.
Get it right.
Is that because you can't pronounce words? I'll use the microphone. And then what I do as well is I keep the conversation going as a moderator. Keith does the same, and Mark helps a lot out with this. Where we jump in where people, if you're feeling a little lost, we'll help you get there. We'll help you get back in the conversation, or go off on side tangents the whole time. By the time I'm done with this, because I'll normally do it from a desktop view, my hands usually hurt pretty bad because I've been typing so much. But and then every so often, as you can see here, post another question. Who here is temperature sensitive? What do you do to try to manage these symptoms? Anyone here would like to share?
Sure.
Not.
Am I sharing online?
You can share it online, or you can share it directly with us. So,
If you speak loud enough, it'll be online.
yes,
Do you want the mic?
No. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
I put out a lot of sweaters and ice bags and all sorts of, yeah. Because, you get hot and cold.
Perfect, thank you. I try to freeze my wife out of the room on a nightly basis.
Succeeds.
Yeah. Mhm. She's a super heavy blanket, so that usually will keep her warm while I'm freezing and have like a half a sheet over my shoulder.
Yeah, we actually make up the bed two sides, like with twin unders, so that we don't fight over our covers and we can pile up whatever we want.
That's a great idea.
That is really smart.
Yeah. Well, we can do that because we have the king, so we just put 2 mattresses on there. So.
MIT came out with a bracelet that you put the temperature gauge underneath your wrist, and you press it, and it goes hot or cold based on how you're feeling. It's supposed to change how you feel internally. It doesn't actually change your temperature. It changes how you feel. I own it. I've heard people say that works really, really well for them. Because I live in Texas, doesn't quite work in the summer. 1,000 degrees, but it works, for moderate temperature changes.
Nice. So we're talking about the MIT developed thing that goes on your wrist, and I believe it's designed to help alleviate the need for air conditioning, right? It'll help cool your body
That
down.
was the origination, yeah. But
Okay.
there are people, I know it started with multiple sclerosis patients were using it, and then it kind of went on for other chronic illnesses. But
Gotcha.
I have it, I just didn't write it out.
Okay. So we have about 13 minutes left here. So I'm going to go ahead. This is kind of an abbreviated version of the Nchat because we went through the presentation. But I'm going to post the third question. Feel free to answer. Oh, that's how we get the tweet. We post it from here.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what other questions do you guys have here from the audience?
Was that, sorry, were you using the Twitter app?
That was Tweetbot. So Tweetbot is a super fantastic app. The only thing is Twitter recently changed its application programming interface, and they don't allow live stream your tweets anymore, so it doesn't work. There's a delay. Yeah, it's a big bummer because I don't ever use the actual official Twitter app.
That's cool how you do the thing on the side.
Yeah, you can queue them up here, but I can't use this to do the chat because it has a 1 minute delay, and that renders it kind of useless. Okay, other questions from the audience here, and also Facebook. We need more questions from Facebook. So, yes. Well, I can't get. We're broadcasting on Periscope, and I suppose people could comment, but it's up on my phone there, so I can't get to the comments. So, if you're using Periscope, please tweet, and I can see those with the hashtag. So the third question, where is that here? Okay, so we're going to Albuquerque next year. What type of sessions would you like to see at the conference next year? Anybody in here?
I know we have one about young couples.
Young couples?
Okay, what about the single older people that are on disability? That when you try to date and then you tell them you're on disability, they're gone.
Okay.
How do you date?
How do you date when you're single and on disability?
Yeah.
Oh, like a session for that?
Or at least single people with narcolepsy dating.
That would be awesome.
You know,
Singles mixer? Is that what we're talking about here?
no, I don't really.
Just trying to clarify.
No, it's not really trying to find someone, here, woohoo. No, it's just how has other people figured out how to date with narcolepsy
Yeah,
and
dating is
how to
grown-ups.
find someone?
Yeah, dating is grown-ups.
Yeah.
I like the name she came up with, single and sleepy.
Yeah.
Got that?
Because I don't fit in the young couples because I have yet to find someone.
She said time's up.
Well, let's keep going until it kicks in.
Okay, I like it.
We have some more questions. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm trying to get one of the questions. Yes. So give me.
I thought
It's from
though.
get
This is from Josh Greenlee online. What resources would you recommend for friends and family of those with narcolepsy so they can learn more about what they're going through? Thanks, Josh. And obviously an answer I would put in would be the network, because there's tons of printable documents you can get directly from the Narcolepsy Network page that shares a lot about that. They're like almost like infographics as well. If you can actually read and not fall asleep, I recommend Julie Fleigar's book, Wide Awake and Still Dreaming, which I think is now an audiobook, so it might be easier to digest that a little bit. Any resources you'd recommend? I was talking that whole time.
I know. I was engrossed in the Twitter replies. What was the question?
What's a great place to get resources to share with people who don't have narcolepsy so they can understand the process?
Narcolepsynetwork.org. Can we have a few more minutes? Or is it another session? 3 more minutes?
There's another session.
Okay. All right, 3 more minutes.
All right.
Support groups too.
Yes.
Support groups?
Yeah, you can find a lot of support groups. The one that I found was actually, I found it on the network. I just searched Arizona, and that's where I was able to find the network. So the narcolepsynetwork.org is a perfect place to find any resources to get started. Plus, you can even see past conferences and see things that were discussed there to see if it's a good fit for you and for Albuquerque, for example. So, any other sessions you guys would want to see?
I'm gonna tweet this, but
Nice.
Yes.
I would love to see more sessions. We have the CBT guy.
Yeah.
And that was really cool, and I'm really glad he's doing that.
Yeah.
But if there are like more healthcare providers that do stuff that's not just prescribed drugs, that would be
alternative
cool.
medicine kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like there's
Yeah.
no practitioners like that in my area, but if I could like learn about other people who are doing it and try to show them their stuff. That'd be
Awesome.
Are you talking about like alternative medicine, acupuncture,
Yeah.
whatever?
Or more like lifestyle modifications.
Yeah, like
heart-free diet.
smart
or
people to like guide lifestyle modifications.
I can share a conversation on my phone.
You know, yeah.
I'd say there's stuff on
Here? Hey guys, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. Kind of ran out of time. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I really appreciate you showing up. If you have any questions, you know where to find me on all the apps now. All right, so let me know. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it.
I asked Keith any old people.
Jason, thank you.
John, you're welcome.
Oh, John, I'm sorry.
Yeah, next time we gotta get one of those. We gotta try and find because the beginning is so shaky.
I thought I was gonna have one. I always stopped.
Well, and I
Is Mark a minister?
All right, let's adjourn. Thank you for the Thank you, sir.
sorry you didn't appreciate it.
I don't care.
I almost brought myself.
Thanks everybody for watching on Twitter. See you next time.
You did fantastic. I also
No, you're fine. I'm just gonna walk around.
Well, yeah, because you're
Sorry.